5 hotels haunted by celebrity ghosts. Celebrities are admired in real life. Many flock to see them, gawk at them, and want to be near them. So it's no surprise their presence continues to draw people even after they're dead. The cases on this list showcase where celebrities are said to haunt. These are 5 hotels haunted by celebrity ghosts. Number 5, the Chelsea Hotel. First built during 1883 and 1884, the Chelsea Hotel in New York was a favorite hub for artists, musicians, poets, filmmakers, and other creative types. But like its famous red brick architecture, the over 130-year-old building has also gained notoriety for being a famous haunting ground of celebrity ghosts. When it was first built, the Chelsea was imagined as a series of co-op apartments housing over 250 units. Designer and owner Philip Hubbard rented the space to creatives, with the top floor of the building accommodating 12 artist studios. But by the 40s, the apartment complex went bankrupt, its residents left, and it was picked up and turned into a luxury hotel. The Chelsea saw new life and thrived up until the end of World War II. Another strike of fate saw the Chelsea going bankrupt again until Stanley Bard, the landlord, decided to lease the rooms as long-term apartments to a bohemian bunch. Soon the place became known as the Dream Palace and a must-visit spot when dropping by New York. Over the years, it became the home of Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix, Andy Warhol, and more. But with creatives and their permissive lifestyle back in the day, it was no surprise the hotel would become embroiled in questionable matters. Some of its long-term guests died on the property, and many supposedly refused to leave the place even after death. Some of the more famous ghosts said to haunt the quiet corridors of the Chelsea include punk rock bassist for the Sex Pistols, Sid Vicious. In 1978, Vicious stayed there with his girlfriend, Nancy Spungen. While the two were in love, their relationship was violent and destructive, fueled by alcohol and drugs. On October 12th and 13th of 1978, neighbors heard a cry coming from the rocker's room, but this was ignored because of the ruckus and fighting the couple often had. The next morning, someone called the front desk to ask for help, and it was then that they found Nancy stabbed to death in the bathroom. Sid Vicious was found crying and upset under the influence of drugs. He later confessed to the murder, but recanted it immediately. Without Nancy, he was heartbroken and later killed himself in a drug overdose before his trial for the murder got started. Residents and guests have reported seeing his ghost in the hotel. In the room where the murder happened, guests have seen orbs and experienced extreme temperature fluctuations. Sometimes people even hear a couple arguing, even when nobody is there. Others say Sid Vicious also haunts the elevator, opening and closing the doors or operating the buttons. Then there's also the ghost of the Welsh poet Dylan Thomas. He had spent his last days at the Chelsea. Even though he was already sick, he still had another go at drinking and fell ill. He died at a nearby hospital, but his ghost haunts room 206. At night, he appears as a disembodied head hovering right at the foot of the bed of guests, just watching them sleep. The Chelsea Hotel is currently closed as it's being renovated and updated. Number 4, the Landmark Hotel. The Landmark Hotel was built and created for entertainers. Located in the heart of Los Angeles, California, right by Hollywood Boulevard, it's no surprise this 70-room hotel was a favorite spot for rock stars and celebrities. Since it opened, its rooms have catered to rock star guests like Jefferson Airplane, Jim Morrison, and the Rat Pack. But perhaps the most famous one-time resident of the hotel was rock singer Janis Joplin. Janis rose to fame when she sang lead for psychedelic rock band Big Brother and the Holding Company. Her distinctive vocals and unique energy brought attention to her. Joplin stayed at the Landmark Hotel while she was recording with her new band, Full Tilt Boogie. They were recording their 4th album together at Sunset Sound Recorders, just a few blocks away from the hotel. On October 4, 1970, Janis was supposed to head to the studio to record her vocal tracks, but when she didn't show up, her producer, Paul Rothchild, became concerned. That night, her road manager, John Cook, headed to the hotel to check on her. He saw her vehicle still in the parking lot and thought that she still must be inside. He headed to room 105, her bedroom, but it was there he found her dead on the floor. The official finding was that she died from a heroin overdose compounded by alcohol. Cook thinks she may have taken a more potent dose of heroin than she usually did and didn't know, and her death was ruled accidental. The sad thing was, Joplin had just come back from a trip to Brazil in February where she managed to stay clean and sober for a while, but she eventually got hooked on drugs again when she came back to the United States. At the age of just 27 when she died, many of her fans were shocked at the news. Then 16 days later, another rock legend, Jimi Hendrix, was also found dead from an apparent overdose. He was also 27. After Joplin's death in room 105, an urban myth surrounding the room says the hotel is located at a crossroads, and that it should be called as such because of the amount of soul selling that's done there. Soon after she died in the landmark, the original owners tried to keep the room number where she died a secret, but in the 1980s, the landmark was renamed as Highland Gardens, and the new owners decided to transform the room where she died in as a hallmark to her legacy. Over the years, the rooms of the hotel have been renovated, but room 105, where Janis died, has remained intact. Guests can stay in the room, and many ghost hunters and fans continue to book it, hoping to come across her ghost. Number 3. The Algonquin Hotel. First opening its doors in 1902, the Algonquin Hotel in New York City was once considered by travel website Oyster to be the best haunted hotel in 2012. Ever since it was established, the hotel has gained a reputation for being a mid-luxury hotel filled with elegance and great history. This place is catered to the elite, creative types, famous writers, playwrights, and more through its doors. Frank Case, the owner of the hotel back when it opened, was known for throwing lavish parties as well as his love for cats. By the 20s, some of the brightest literary minds gathered at the hotel and became known as the Algonquin Round Table and later the Vicious Circle. Famous creatives like Franklin Adams, George Kaufman, Dorothy Parker, Harold Ross, Alexander Woolcott, and Robert Benchley would gather, originally in the center of the hotel's dining room, to share ideas and bounce around thoughts. Eventually, Ross would go on to open the New Yorker with his wife, Jane Grant. As a result, the hotel would be proclaimed a literary landmark in 1996. Despite its historical significance, it's no surprise the Algonquin is also well known for its hauntings. In fact, the members of the famous Vicious Circle seem to have refused to leave the hotel even after their deaths. A guest once heard a mysterious song play while she was in an elevator. When she asked other guests, including her husband who was in the same elevator as her, they said they didn't hear anything. The woman said she specifically heard the Dorothy Fields track, "I'm in the Mood for Love," and Dorothy was part of the Vicious Circle crew. Then one time a guest had two unusual hauntings there. The first was when he woke up to a tapping sound from the bathroom. He said it sounded like a metal razor was hitting against the sink, but when he looked inside, no one was there. Another time he was being followed by disembodied footsteps from the stairwell. When he waited to see who it was, again, no one was there. Workers and staff at the hotel also report seeing a bunch of ghostly apparitions in the dining room lobby. Many of these reports state these are sightings of famous circle members and literary greats. The place isn't just haunted by humans either, it's believed to be a hub for poltergeists as well. Countless poltergeist hauntings have been recorded here. This includes moving furniture and other ghostly apparitions. The poltergeists have also increased activity after extensive renovations were done. Today, the Algonquin continues to remain a popular place for those who seek out haunted historical hotels in the heart of New York City. Number 2. Las Vegas Hilton. Once known as the International Hotel, the Las Vegas Hilton has had a long and interesting history. Aside from being located in one of the glitziest states in the country, Vegas Hilton is known for being the last place ever where Elvis Presley performed in 1976. During his last years, the king preferred to stay at the hotel, plunking down in the penthouse suite, room 3000. His room stretched throughout the entire top floor. In this large suite, he was accompanied by his faithful crew known as the Memphis Mafia. This was composed of friends, cousins, and other people who had hung out with him for the money, clothes, cars, and of course, girls. By this time, Elvis was deeply addicted to prescription drugs. The nightclub in the hotel was among the most popular venues, and it often sold out fast and was heavily packed whenever he performed. With that, it's no surprise the King's ghost would also frequent the space after he passed. The Las Vegas Hilton, which is now the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, patrons have reported seeing his ghost in multiple spots throughout the hotel, but it's especially prominent in the old penthouse suite. He's also been seen in the basement where he used to hang out with his band before and after the shows, and the freight elevator where he often hid from fans. Whenever he makes his presence known, the King does it in full fashion, wearing his iconic white rhinestone-studded suit. Those who have witnessed the apparition often mistake it as just another impersonator. After all, it is Vegas. But then they're often surprised that when they try to speak to him, the apparition mysteriously disappears. Even today, there are still people who visit the hotel hoping to encounter the King, even if it's in his ghostly form. Number 1. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Found right by Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel first opened in 1927. It was named after Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th president. Being opened in the 1920s, it helped welcome the golden age of Hollywood. Since then, a lot of celebrities have made it their second home, or have at least become regulars. In the 1950s, the hotel saw a huge decline, and for several decades it underwent a big renovation. It wasn't until Radisson Hotels bought it up in 1985 and gave it another heavy renovation that it became an iconic spot once again. The hotel has over 300 guest rooms and 63 suites, decorating its 12-story building structure. It hosted the first ever Oscars and is often used for movie premieres and parties. Some of the most famous names to have graced its doors include Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Shirley Temple, and of course many others. But there are two other famous names who have stayed at the hotel and likely never left. The first was screen icon Marilyn Monroe. She lived in room 1200. Those who have stayed at the hotel say they have seen apparitions of Marilyn in the mirror. The stunning blonde often shows herself randomly to unsuspecting guests. The mirror where her apparition appears has been moved to an elevator in the lower level, so sometimes unsuspecting guests taking a quick peek to check their hair or lipstick are surprised to find Marilyn staring back at them. Another ghost that haunts the hotel is that of actor Montgomery Clift. He stayed in the hotel for 3 months, and today his ghost haunts room 928 in the hallway right outside. Workers there say they feel like they're being watched while they're roaming the 9th floor. The actor's apparition has been seen walking the hallway outside his room, and sometimes he's heard even playing the trumpet. One couple that stayed in the room reported that one time while in bed, the wife felt a light tapping on her shoulder. She turned to say goodnight to her husband, of course thinking it was him, only to find out he was already sound asleep. Another time, a maid also reported being shoved inside the closet while she was cleaning that room. The Roosevelt remains an iconic hotel that many fans and guests continue to patronize. Some are there for pleasure, while others are hoping they could rub shoulders with its famous ghosts. So there were 5 hotels haunted by celebrity ghosts. These hotels are still around today. Whether you're an adventurer or simply want to experience something unusual, you could stay at any of these spots. You could enjoy their decadence and luxury, and maybe catch a glimpse of their ghostly residence. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We have new videos every Wednesday and Saturday that we know you'll love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.